Sleep in the arms of Jesus, beloved. There is no greater peace than to know that you are not left alone to carry the weight of life. The storms may rage, the burdens may press, the nights may feel long, but there is a sacred invitation extended to every weary soul, to lay down the restless mind, silence the trembling heart, and to sleep in the arms of Jesus. This is not sleep as the world knows it. This is a rest that goes beyond the body, a stillness that swallows every fear, a surrender that opens the gates of heaven in your very soul. When you learn to enter that holy silence, when you dare to close your eyes with the assurance that you are held by the one who never slumbers nor sleeps, you will awaken renewed, transformed, and clothed in divine strength. Tonight, I call you to stop fighting battles that are not yours, to release the chains of anxiety, and to allow the Lord of peace to cradle you, for in his arms no darkness can touch you, no power can harm you, and no night can defeat you. The secret of resting in spirit, to sleep in the arms of Jesus, is to discover a rest far deeper than the mere closing of the eyes at the end of the day. It is to enter into the secret place of the Most High, where burdens dissolve and the soul is carried by the assurance of divine love. The body may lie down upon the bed, but the spirit finds its pillow in the certainty that all is well, all is finished, and all is secure in him who holds the universe together. Many people go to bed at night with hearts full of fear, minds full of doubt, and spirits tormented by questions, but the invitation of the gospel is simple. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. This rest is not temporary relief, not a fragile quietness that disappears with the rising of the sun, but a spiritual repose that anchors you in the eternal presence of Christ. When you lay your head down with the consciousness that you are resting in him, you discover a mysterious strength that begins to flow into every part of your being, so that even while you sleep, heaven is working in you and through you. The secret of resting in spirit begins with surrender. The human mind wants to control, to solve, to plan, to calculate every outcome, yet the way of divine rest is the opposite. It is to lay down the weapons of self-effort and to allow yourself to be carried by unseen hands. Imagine for a moment a child falling asleep in the arms of a loving parent. The child does not calculate whether the parent can hold them through the night. The child simply trusts and surrenders, knowing that safety is not their responsibility but the parent's. So it is with you and the Lord. To sleep in the arms of Jesus is to say within yourself, I release every care, I release every burden, I release every fear, and I trust that I am safe in your keeping. Such surrender is not weakness but strength, for it aligns you with the eternal power that never fails. This rest in spirit is also a matter of awareness. If you enter the night with a mind full of trouble, your dreams will echo that trouble, and your waking hours will bear its fruit. But if you choose deliberately and consciously to fall asleep in the remembrance of Christ's presence, you enter into a higher world of peace. The outer man may sleep, but the inner man is always awake, always creating, always aligning with the reality you carry in consciousness. Therefore, to sleep in the arms of Jesus is to allow your last thought, your last feeling, your last awareness of the day to be one of union with him. Whisper within your soul, I am yours, and you are mine. Hold me tonight, and you will awaken to a day infused with his presence. This secret of resting in spirit also teaches us that rest is creative. While the body rests, the spirit works. Seeds planted in the soil of consciousness before sleep grow into the harvest of tomorrow. If you lay down in fear, you awaken to more fear. If you lay down in worry, you awaken to more worry. But if you lay down with the assurance that you are being carried by eternal arms, you awaken to the manifestation of that assurance. Peace in circumstances, strength in weakness, solutions where before there were only problems. Rest in him is not passive. It is the most powerful creative act you can perform, for it surrenders the limitations of human striving and allows the infinite wisdom of God to work unhindered in your life. To rest in Jesus is also to enter into freedom from time. The world measures hours, days, and seasons, but when you surrender to him in rest, you touch eternity. You step into the timeless reality where every prayer is already answered, every promise is already fulfilled, and every need is already supplied. Your sleep then becomes more than physical restoration. It becomes participation in the eternal. You awaken no longer as one bound by the hours of the clock, but as one who carries within themselves the timeless assurance that it is finished. Such a state changes how you walk in the day. You begin to live not as a beggar asking for what you do not have, but as a child who knows they are already held, already supplied, already victorious, because they slept in union with him who has overcome the world. And yet, this rest is not only for the night, but for every moment of the day. To sleep in his arms is a symbol of living in his presence. It is the art of inner stillness, even while the outer world rages. Just as you close your eyes at night and give yourself into his keeping, you can also walk through the day with the same inward surrender. Every step, every word, every action can flow from the quiet confidence that you are upheld by eternal strength. When problems arise, instead of rushing into panic, you can pause and rest within, whispering, "I am in his arms, nothing can touch me, nothing can move me." In that rest, solutions emerge, peace prevails, and victory is assured. One of the most profound aspects of this rest is that it dissolves fear of death. For many, death is the great unknown, the shadow that terrifies. But when you have learned to sleep in the arms of Jesus nightly, you realize that death itself is but another sleep in his embrace. The same way you close your eyes in trust at night and awaken renewed in morning, so too one day you will close your eyes in this world and awaken in the fullness of his glory. Resting in him now is the rehearsal for eternity. The soul that learns to surrender daily, to find peace in his keeping, will not tremble at the final sleep, for it knows that the everlasting arms are always there. Therefore, beloved, practice this holy rest. As you prepare to sleep each night, do not rush into it with a mind full of noise. Lay aside your devices, silence the chatter, and turn inward. Speak to him as to a friend, whisper your surrender, and consciously imagine yourself resting in his arms. Let your last thought be one of peace, your last feeling one of love, your last awareness one of union with him. If the day has been hard, release it. If the future feels uncertain, entrust it. If the burdens are heavy, give them, for the night is not a time of abandonment, but of renewal, a time when heaven itself works on your behalf while you rest. To sleep in the arms of Jesus is to live in the secret of spirit's rest, a rest that is deeper than the body, wider than the mind, higher than the heavens. It is to know that no matter how dark the night, no matter how heavy the burden, you are never alone. The everlasting arms are beneath you, around you, and within you, and when you awaken, you rise not as one still weary, but as one renewed, transformed, and clothed in divine power. This is the secret that the world longs for, but few discover, that true peace, true rest, true life itself is found only in him. So tonight, do not merely fall into sleep as the world does. Step into it consciously, deliberately, with the assurance that you are being carried. Whisper in the silence of your soul, "Lord, I rest in you. Hold me, keep me, renew me," and then allow yourself to sink into that holy embrace. For to sleep in the arms of Jesus is to awaken in his power, to walk in his presence, and to live in his eternal peace. Imagination as the doorway to his presence, when the body lays itself down to rest at night. The world believes sleep to be nothing more than a shutting down of the senses, a retreat into unconsciousness, a simple function of nature. Yet those who are awake within know that sleep is not merely the end of the day, but the opening of a door into a greater world. The secret of sleeping in the arms of Jesus lies in understanding the power of imagination as the pathway into his presence. For it is not the bed that carries you into his embrace, but the vision of your heart, the picture of your soul, the feeling that you hold in your inner being before the eyes close and the night descends. Imagination is not a toy of the mind, it is the ladder upon which the soul ascends into the heavens. It is the secret chamber where the invisible becomes visible, where the seen is born from the unseen, and where union with the divine is experienced most intimately. Consider this every night before the curtain of sleep falls. You stand at a threshold. On one side is the world of the day, its worries, its duties, its unfinished conversations, its anxieties and disappointments. On the other side is the inner sanctuary, the holy place where your soul can commune with the eternal. The doorway between the two is imagination. If you cross that threshold carrying with you the burdens of the day, you awaken tomorrow with the same burdens multiplied. But if you cross it clothed in the vision of his presence, wrapped in the awareness that you are held in his arms, you awaken in the freshness of a new world. Imagination is not passive, it creates, it shapes, it gives form to the unseen substance of life. To imagine yourself in his arms as you drift into sleep is not wishful thinking. It is the act of entering into his presence by the only doorway that exists, the inner life of the soul. Most people go to bed rehearsing their fears. They replay the arguments, the debts, the failures, the words that wounded, the regrets that haunt. They allow their imagination to be hijacked by despair, and what happens? Their sleep becomes restless, their dreams heavy, and their awakening is but a continuation of their sorrow. Yet the invitation of Christ is entirely different. Abide in me, and I in you. How do you abide in him when the senses fade through the imagination? To close your eyes and to deliberately fashion within yourself the awareness that you are in his arms, that his presence surrounds you, that his love enfolds you, is to take the words of Scripture and breathe them into living reality. The world calls this pretending, but the soul that has tasted it knows it is not pretending, it is entering into truth by the only means given to man. Imagination is the language of spirit. When you pray, you may use words, but prayer is not complete until the words ignite an inner picture, an inner feeling, an inner vision of what is asked for. When you say, Lord, I am in your keeping, it is not enough to speak the words, you must feel them. You must let the mind paint the picture of yourself wrapped in his embrace, secure as a child in the arms of the one who cannot fail. And when that picture becomes real, when that feeling saturates you, you are no longer speaking into the air. You are communing with the living Christ through the medium of imagination. And then, when you drift into sleep, you carry that vision with you into the depths of the soul, where it begins to shape your reality. The power of imagination before sleep cannot be overstated. For the last thought, the last feeling, the last vision you carry across that threshold is like a seed planted in fertile soil. The body sleeps, but the spirit is always awake. The imagination continues to work beneath the surface, shaping tomorrow's experiences from tonight's visions. If you plant fear, fear grows. If you plant doubt, doubt grows. But if you plant the awareness of his presence, if you sleep in his arms, then peace grows, strength grows, miracles grow. The unseen hand of God works while you rest, because you have given him the seed of faith to multiply. To sleep in the arms of Jesus, then, is to deliberately choose the image you carry into the night, and this choice is made through imagination. Do not let the day decide for you. Do not let the circumstances of the world dictate what picture will rule your sleep. Take control of your inner world. Before your eyes close, withdraw your attention from the outer world and turn it inward. Ask yourself, what do I wish to carry into the night? And then clothe yourself in that vision. Imagine yourself safe. Imagine yourself whole. Imagine yourself victorious. Imagine yourself surrounded by the radiance of Christ. See it in the theater of your mind until you feel it, and then let that be the pillow upon which you rest. In this way, imagination becomes the ladder into heaven, and you climb into the arms of the Lord. Understand this: imagination is not separate from faith. Faith is not blind believing. It is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Imagination is that evidence. It is the inward seeing of what the outer eye cannot yet behold. To sleep in the arms of Jesus by imagination is to live in faith. You may say, but I cannot see him. Yet when you imagine yourself in his embrace and you feel the peace of that union, you have seen him by faith, and that is the reality upon which heaven acts. Faith does not wait for evidence, it creates it, and imagination is the tool through which this creation is accomplished. Those who discover this secret transform their nights. No longer do they fall into unconscious slumber like those without hope. Instead, they approach sleep as a holy sacrament, a divine appointment, a meeting place with eternity. They prepare their minds as a bride prepares for her beloved, adorning the imagination with visions of union, of peace, of love, of victory. And then, as they drift into the stillness, they are carried beyond the limits of flesh into the realm where spirit reigns. In the morning, they rise not merely refreshed but renewed, not merely rested but transformed. For they have spent the night in the arms of the Eternal. And yet this practice is not reserved only for the end of the day. Every moment of life is shaped by imagination. But in the silence of the night, when the world grows still and the senses turn inward, the power of imagination is at its strongest. That is why the final thoughts before sleep are so crucial. They set the tone not only for dreams but for waking reality. If you wish to walk through the day in peace, begin by sleeping in peace. If you wish to carry the presence of Christ in the light, begin by entering his embrace in the dark. So tonight, when you lie down, do not simply collapse into unconsciousness. Approach the moment with reverence. See with the eyes of your heart. Feel with the depths of your soul. Imagine yourself in his arms, not as a symbol but as a reality. Let that vision saturate you until you no longer know where you end and he begins. Then, with that awareness alive within, drift into the silence, and know that in doing so, you have crossed the threshold into his presence. This is the secret of imagination. It is the doorway, the bridge, the ladder, the key, and when you use it to sleep in the arms of Jesus, you awaken not to the same world you left behind, but to a world touched, reshaped, and renewed by the unseen hand of God. The power of last thought. Before sleep, there is a mystery hidden in the quiet moments before sleep that many overlook. Yet it holds the secret to transformation, peace, and divine union. The state of mind you enter into at the close of the day determines not only the quality of your rest, but also the condition of your waking life. The last thoughts before sleep are seeds planted in the deepest soil of your spirit, and they will grow into the harvest you meet tomorrow. To sleep in the arms of Jesus is to take full control of this holy moment and to choose, with deliberate faith, what thought, what image, what feeling will accompany you into the stillness of the night. For while the body rests and the senses are silent, the inner man continues to create, to shape, and to build from the material of the last thoughts you carried into slumber. Thus, if you fall asleep in fear, you awaken to fear multiplied. If you fall asleep in anger, you awaken to circumstances that echo anger. But if you fall asleep with the awareness that you are held in Christ's embrace, you awaken to a day infused with peace, love, and victory. Think of sleep as a sacred gateway. Each night you step from one world into another, and the last thought in your mind is the key that unlocks the door. If the key is worry, you walk into a night filled with restless dreams and into a morning shadowed by unease. If the key is doubt, you step into a night that starves your spirit of renewal and into a morning already heavy with defeat. But if the key is faith, if the key is the assurance of his presence, if the key is the vision of yourself in the arms of Jesus, then you cross into the night clothed in light and awaken in the morning renewed in strength. This is the power of last thoughts. They do not simply fade into nothingness when you close your eyes. They travel with you, they shape your dreams, they form your inner reality, and eventually they spill over into the outer world you experience. The scriptures say, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Notice it does not say, as he thinks casually during the day, but as he thinks in his heart. And when are the thoughts of the heart most deeply impressed? In the final moments before sleep, when the conscious guard of the mind begins to lower, and the subconscious becomes open, fertile, and ready to receive. The last thought is not just a fleeting idea. It is an imprint, a seal upon the soul. That is why what you dwell upon in the quiet minutes before rest is so crucial. You are writing upon the tablet of your being, and what you write there becomes the script of tomorrow. To sleep in the arms of Jesus, then, is to master this holy art of final thoughts. It is to take charge of the last thing you feel, the last picture you see within, the last truth you affirm before letting go of the day. If you do not take this seriously, the world will decide for you. The conversation you had earlier, the news you watched, the worries that pressed upon your heart, these will sneak into your final moments and become the seeds planted in your soul, and then you wonder why tomorrow looks like yesterday, why the same struggles repeat, why peace eludes you. It is because the cycle of thought was never broken at the doorway of sleep. When you become conscious of this mystery and you decide, tonight, I will sleep in the arms of Jesus. Tonight, my last thought will not be fear but faith, not worry but worship, not doubt but divine union. Then you seize the power that has been given to you, and you begin to live in the miracle of renewal. Imagine the difference between a man who goes to bed rehearsing his failures and a man who goes to bed imagining himself held by Christ, forgiven, loved, and whole. The first man tosses through the night, haunted by shadows, and awakens weary, carrying yesterday's burdens into a new day. The second man, though his outer world may not yet have changed, awakens lighter, freer, clothed with an inward strength that begins to attract new realities. The power of last thoughts is not symbolic, it is creative. They are not idle, they are living forces shaping the unseen realm, preparing the soil for tomorrow's manifestation. This truth reveals why prayer before sleep is so vital. Prayer is not a ritual of words, it is the act of impressing upon the soul the vision of what is true. When you pray before bed, do not merely ask for things, feel them as done. See yourself already safe in his arms. Whisper words of thanksgiving, not as empty gestures, but as declarations of faith. Let your last thought be, I am at peace, I am loved, I am in him and he is in me. Hold that thought until it becomes a feeling, until it is no longer something you are trying to believe, but something you know with certainty. Then, as you drift into the silence, that final awareness is carried into the depths of your being, where it becomes life, power, and manifestation. Many underestimate the creative power of these moments because they cannot see the immediate result. They think, what difference does it make what I think before sleep? But those who understand the laws of spirit know, all creation begins unseen, and what is unseen is greater than what is seen. A farmer does not plant a seed today and expect fruit tomorrow, yet he knows the harvest is certain. In the same way, the last thoughts before sleep are the seeds of tomorrow's harvest. You may not see the change at once, but life begins to rearrange itself around the conviction you carried into the night. And let us go even deeper. The power of last thoughts is not only for shaping outer life, it is the means by which you commune with eternity. When you deliberately choose to rest in the thought of Christ's embrace, you are not merely creating a better tomorrow. You are entering into the timeless reality where he already holds you. You are aligning yourself with eternal truth, and in that alignment you discover peace beyond understanding. This is why those who practice sleeping in the arms of Jesus find not only external blessings but also a profound transformation within. Anxiety loses its grip, fear dissolves, the shadows of death lose their sting, for every night becomes a rehearsal of eternity, every sleep a practice of surrender, every final thought an affirmation of union with him who never fails. Beloved, I urge you, do not take lightly the final minutes of your day. Do not give them carelessly to worry, distraction, or despair. Guard them as holy, protect them as sacred, enter them with reverence. Tonight, when the world grows quiet and your body grows heavy, choose deliberately the thought you will carry across the threshold. Say within yourself, I sleep in the arms of Jesus. Imagine it, feel it, let it saturate you until nothing else matters, and then let that awareness be your final act before surrendering to silence, for the truth is simple yet profound. Your last thought is your first reality in the morning. What you choose at night becomes what you meet in the light. And when your last thought is of Christ's embrace, your morning will be clothed in his peace, your day guided by his presence, your life transformed by his power. This is the secret of the power of last thoughts before sleep. It is not merely psychological, it is spiritual, it is not symbolic, it is real. It is the way of union, the path of transformation, the art of resting in him. So tonight, do not sleep as the world sleeps. Sleep as one who knows the mystery. Sleep as one who understands the sacredness of the last thought. Sleep as one who has chosen, above all else, to rest in the arms of Jesus. And when you awaken, you will not awaken to the same world you left behind. You will awaken to a world touched by heaven, shaped by faith, and filled with the fragrance of divine peace. Awakening in divine union to sleep in the arms of Jesus is not only to find peace in the night, but to awaken in the morning clothed with divine union. For true rest is never just physical, it is spiritual alignment, the merging of your soul with the eternal, so that when you rise not as the same weary self who collapsed in exhaustion, but as one renewed, transformed, and filled with heavenly strength. Many people wake each day with dread, repeating yesterday's troubles, chained to the same anxieties, weighed down by the same heaviness. Yet those who understand the mystery of sleeping in Christ discover a secret. The morning does not have to be a continuation of the night, but a resurrection into divine union. When you fall asleep consciously in his embrace, you awaken consciously in his presence, and life itself becomes a testimony that you and the eternal are one. This awakening is not about eyes opening to the physical light of the sun. It is about the soul opening to the light of spirit. How many have risen from their beds with heavy hearts, going through the motions of life as though trapped in an endless cycle of toil, and how many, though their bodies slept, never truly rested because their souls were never surrendered. Yet the one who falls asleep with the awareness of Jesus holding them enters a different kind of night. Even as the body lies still, the soul is being washed, renewed, and clothed in union with the eternal. When morning comes, this person rises lighter, freer, not because the outer world has shifted, but because their inner world has been transformed. Their first thought is not fear, not duty, not the weight of another day, but the quiet assurance, I am one with him. This is the power of awakening in divine union. It is a rebirth that happens daily. Each sleep is a death to the old self, and each awakening an opportunity for resurrection. When you fall asleep in the arms of Jesus, you let go of the day's burdens. You die to worry, die to anger, die to despair. And when you awaken, you rise with new life flowing in you. This cycle mirrors the great truth of eternity, death and resurrection, surrender and renewal, letting go and being filled again. Every night offers you the chance to release what no longer serves you, and every morning offers you the chance to live as one united with the divine. To understand this is to live consciously, no longer drifting through life as one trapped in routine, but living every day as a new beginning, a fresh expression of the Spirit within. Union with Christ is not something you must strive to achieve, it is something you must awaken to. He is already within you, nearer than breath, closer than heartbeat, but most go through life unaware, distracted by the noise of the senses, blinded by the weight of circumstances. Sleep becomes a tool for reawakening, if only you know how to use it. When you choose to rest in him, to close your eyes with the inner conviction that you are being held in his embrace, you plant within your spirit the awareness of union. And in the morning, when you open your eyes, that awareness greets you, reminding you that you are not separate, not alone, not abandoned. You are one with him who holds the universe together. This awakening in divine union transforms how you live the day. Instead of moving through hours with fear, you walk with quiet confidence. Instead of reacting to circumstances, you respond from peace. Instead of begging for help, you live from the assurance that help already surrounds you. Imagine the difference between a person who rises burdened and a person who rises with the deep knowing that Christ lives in them and they in him. The first drags their feet through the day, seeing obstacles and problems everywhere. The second walks as though the ground itself carries them, seeing opportunities, blessings, and divine order unfolding moment by moment. The outer circumstances may appear the same, but the inner state changes everything. This is the fruit of awakening in divine union. To experience this daily awakening, you must guard your final moments before sleep. As we have seen, the last thought becomes the seed of the morning. If your last thought is union with him, your first awareness will be union with him. When you whisper to yourself, I am in your arms, Lord, and you allow that feeling to saturate you, you are not just preparing for sleep, you are preparing for resurrection. The body will rest, but the soul will be carried, renewed, and clothed with the truth of union. And then, when your eyes open to the new day, you will not open them as one who is empty, but as one who is already filled with his presence. This is the key. Awakening is not something that happens by accident. It is the result of intention. If you sleep without intention, you awaken without awareness. If you sleep with intention, deliberately choosing to rest in his arms, you awaken in power. This is why the saints of old practiced prayer before sleep, not as ritual, but as preparation. They understood that the night is a passage and the morning is a rebirth. What you carry into the passage determines how you are reborn. So take control of the passage. Carry with you love, carry with you peace, carry with you the vision of divine union, and you will awaken to a new self, a new day, a new reality. To awaken in divine union is also to live free from fear of separation. Many live in constant anxiety, feeling abandoned, questioning whether God is near. But when you practice sleeping in his embrace, you discover that union is not something fragile, but something eternal. Every morning you rise with the reminder that he never left you, never forsook you, never withdrew his hand. The fear of being alone dissolves because you have tasted the truth. You are one with him, and nothing can break that bond. The night becomes a rehearsal of eternity, and the morning a confirmation of your place in him. Beloved, imagine the power of living this way every day. Imagine never waking with dread, never dragging yesterday into today, never feeling separated from the source of life. Imagine opening your eyes each morning with the certainty that you are whole, safe, and one with the eternal. This is not a dream for a distant future. It is the gift of now, available to all who will choose to rest in him. The arms of Jesus are open. The invitation is constant. Abide in me, and I in you. Your only part is to accept, to surrender, to choose him in the stillness of the night, and to awaken with him in the glory of the morning. So tonight, when the world grows quiet and your body longs for rest, enter that silence with intention. Let your last thought be not of fear but of faith, not of burden but of blessing, not of separation but of union. Whisper within, I sleep in the arms of Jesus. I will awaken in his presence. And then surrender, let go of the weight of the day, let go of the noise of the mind, and rest in him. And when morning comes, rise with the assurance that you are clothed in divine union, ready to live the day not as one separate and struggling, but as one joined with the source of life itself. For this is the mystery. To sleep in the arms of Jesus is to awaken in divine union. To rest in him at night is to live in him by day. And when you live this way, every morning becomes a resurrection, every step a testimony, every breath a reminder that Christ in you is the hope of glory. Living from the assurance of his embrace to sleep in the arms of Jesus is not an event reserved only for the quiet hours of the night, nor is it a fleeting comfort that disappears when the sun rises. It is a way of living, a posture of the soul, a constant assurance that carries you through every moment of the day. When you understand that the same Lord who held you in stillness while you rested now walks with you in the brightness of the morning, you stop living as one uncertain, fearful, or abandoned. You begin to live from the assurance of his embrace, and that assurance becomes the foundation upon which your thoughts, actions, and words rest. No longer do you beg for peace, you carry peace. No longer do you chase after safety, you know you are safe. No longer do you look for love in fleeting places, you realize you are already loved with an everlasting love. To live from the assurance of his embrace is to walk through the world with an inner calm, even when storms rage on the outside. It does not mean the storms cease, nor that difficulties vanish instantly, but it means you are anchored in a reality greater than the circumstances around you. The one who knows they are held does not panic when the winds blow, for they understand that nothing can snatch them from the arms of the eternal. Imagine a child held tightly by a parent in the middle of a storm. The lightning may flash, the thunder may roar, but the child is not concerned with the storm. It is concerned only with the arms that hold it. So it must be with you. The assurance of his embrace teaches you to fix your attention not on the chaos of life, but on the one who holds you securely through it all. This assurance also reshapes how you see yourself. Without it, you walk through life uncertain of your worth, doubting your place, fearing rejection. But when you know that you are held in the arms of Jesus, you realize that your identity is not built upon the approval of men, the success of your endeavors, or the shifting tides of circumstance. Your identity is rooted in divine love. You are not striving to earn a place in his embrace. You are already there. You are not working to become accepted. You are already accepted. This realization dissolves striving and brings rest into the very fabric of your life. Instead of grasping at things to validate your existence, you live from validation already given by heaven. This is the power of assurance. It frees you from the endless search for security and plants you firmly in the soil of divine certainty. Living from this assurance changes how you deal with challenges. The world teaches you to fight, to worry, to calculate, to control. But when you live from his embrace, you understand that victory is not in your effort, but in your surrender. You no longer see problems as threats, but as opportunities to lean deeper into the one who holds you. When faced with uncertainty, you do not collapse in fear. You whisper within, I am in his arms, therefore I am safe. That whisper alone carries you through. It steadies your emotions, quiets your mind, and releases a strength that is not your own. Many crumble under the weight of difficulties because they believe themselves alone, but you are never alone. Living from assurance is living from union, and in union you are untouchable, unshakable, and victorious, no matter how fierce the storm. This posture of assurance also transforms prayer. Most pray as beggars, pleading with God as though he were far away, uncertain whether their words reach him. But the one who sleeps in his arms and awakens in his presence does not pray as a beggar. They pray as a child who knows they are already heard. Assurance shifts prayer from desperation to thanksgiving, from asking for what you do not have to rejoicing in what is already yours in spirit. Instead of saying, Lord, please give me peace, you say, thank you, Lord, that I am already in your peace. Instead of saying, help me, you say, I rest in the help that already surrounds me. Prayer becomes not a cry of distance, but a song of union, and in that union miracles flow effortlessly, for faith no longer struggles. It simply rests. Living from the assurance of his embrace also changes how you love others. Without assurance, love is often tinged with fear, fear of loss, fear of rejection, fear of betrayal. But when you live in the certainty that you are eternally held, your love for others flows freely, without chains, without demands, without insecurity. You do not cling to people as your source of stability, because your stability is already found in him. You do not demand love to fill your emptiness, because you are already full in his embrace. From this place of fullness, you love without fear, you give without calculation, you serve without resentment. Your relationships are transformed because you are no longer trying to extract from others what only he can provide. Assurance in his arms liberates you to love purely, and consider how this assurance reshapes your outlook on the future. Without it, tomorrow is filled with anxiety. What if I fail? What if I lose? What if I am left alone? But when you live from his embrace, tomorrow loses its sting. You realize that the same arms holding you now will hold you then. The same love that carried you yesterday carries you today and will carry you into eternity. You stop fearing what is ahead because you understand you do not walk into tomorrow by yourself. You are carried into it by the one who already wrote the end from the beginning. This realization dissolves the crippling weight of anxiety and replaces it with quiet trust. You can plan, you can act, you can dream, but all of it rests on the solid foundation that you are not walking into the unknown alone. To live from assurance is also to live from rest. The world glorifies striving, endless motion, constant doing. Yet those who live from his embrace discover the paradoxical power of stillness. They learn that rest is not laziness, but alignment. When you live from the certainty that you are already held, you no longer run frantically through life trying to fix everything. You act when led, you move when prompted, but beneath it all is a calm river of rest that never dries up. Even in activity there is peace, even in labor there is stillness. This is why Scripture speaks of entering into his rest. It is not only about sleeping in peace at night, but about carrying peace into every moment of waking life. Beloved, do you see the beauty of this? To sleep in the arms of Jesus is not merely to comfort yourself for a night. It is to awaken into a new way of being, to live every day from the unshakable certainty that you are held, loved, protected, and guided. And when you live this way, nothing can shake you. Storms may come, but they pass. Shadows may fall, but light prevails. The world may rage, but your soul remains anchored. Why? Because you are not living from fear, from doubt, or from emptiness. You are living from assurance. You are living from the reality that his arms never fail, his love never ends, and his presence never leaves. So tonight, when you lay your head down, whisper the truth, I rest in you. But do not leave it there. Carry that truth into tomorrow. Walk with it into your conversations, your challenges, your decisions, your quiet moments. Let every step be taken with the inner awareness, I am in his embrace. And as you live from that place, you will find that life itself becomes lighter, peace becomes constant, joy becomes natural, and victory becomes inevitable. For the assurance of his arms is not just for the night. It is the foundation for the whole of your existence.